Shalom Akim. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakar Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect. The Wadi Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, for allowing me to do another lesson. Okay. And the name Yahweh, the power of you tribes, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, that's his name. The world might ignorantly call him God, but his real name is Yahweh. And his son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, is named Yahweh Shai. This lesson is going to be talking about how the RFID microchip is the mark of the beast. It's undeniable. The proof is out there. Okay. You can just do a quick Google search. Okay. Which I had did before. Let me see. You could actually just do a quick Google search on humans. Microchips and humans. Okay. Which one did I watch? Let's just see. For example, this one.
The president wants the market to go up headed into November. And now that Pfizer has announced,
take back ownership of your identity. Be in control of the technology. It's definitely the next natural step. People think more on, okay, what is my value? Why aren't I getting a cut? You can sell your data, which makes up a lot of value.
Thank you.
My name is Johan Esteland, and I do implants for humans. Tech goes into the body to enhance and optimize. Chip implants are tiny glass capsules with circuitry in them. You put it under your skin, it can pretty much replace anything you have in your wallet. Bundling them up gives you an edge if you're a bit forgetful. Smart integration is the future of technology, and it's awesome. What makes them important for us is owning the digital identity.
You see? And as you see, there's many more articles, many more videos pushing the RFID chip. Look, USA Today, this came out in 2017. You will get chipped eventually. Because today, even a brother, I was finished watching a brother's video, GMS Watchman. He did a video on how 80% of
Stability
banks,
and monitor.
all right, meaning these top banks around the world are considering digital currencies. Okay. So, on top of that, there's an article. This article right here I want to get into, because this proves without a doubt that the RFID chip is the mark of the beast. So it says here are excerpts from an article published in July, in the June-July 1994 issue of Nexus, Mapleton, Queensland, 4560, Australia. It is the testimony of Dr. Carl W. Sanders, who was in charge of conceiving the microchip. Dr. Sanders is an electronic engineer, inventor, author, and consultant to various government organizations as well as to IBM, General Electric, Honeywell, and Teledyne. 32 years of my life was spent designing, engineering, and electronics, designing microchips in the biomed field. In 1968, I became involved almost by accident in a research and development project in regard to a spinal bypass for a young lady who had severed her spine. They were looking at possibly being able to connect motor nerves, etc. It was a project we were all excited about. There were 100 people involved, and I was senior engineer in charge of the project. The project culminated in the microchip that we talk about now. A microchip that I believe is going to be the positive identification and the mark of the beast. All right. This guy, Dr. Carl W. Sanders, himself writes that he believes that it's the mark of the beast. Okay. Working on the microchip, we had no idea about it ever being an identification chip. We looked at it as being a very humanitarian thing to do. And it goes to show you that these devils, their hearts are deep, because here it is, he's looking at it as he just said a humanitarian thing to do, a thing to help society, not knowing that these elites, the ones who gave, you know, his boss's boss, have a bigger plan, have a bigger scheme and plan. Our team was made up of people out of San Jose, people out of Motorola, General Electric, Boston Medical Center. It was quite a group of people. As the chip began to evolve, there came a time in the project when they said that the financial return on bypassing several spines is not a very lucrative thing for us to be into. So we really need to look at some other areas. We noticed that the frequency of the chip had a great effect upon behavior, and so we began to branch off and look possibly at behavioral modification. Okay? They're not that devil Elon Musk said his chip, why you should get his chip. Why? Because you can control your moods, your mood. The project almost turned into electronic acupuncture, because what they ended up with was embedding a microchip to put out a signal which affected certain areas. They were able to determine that you can cause a behavioral change. One of the projects was called the Phoenix Project, which had to do with Vietnam veterans. We had a chip that we called the Rainbow Chip. This chip would actually cause extra adrenaline flow. Okay? It says even in well, you know what? Let me keep going. I'm keep reading that scripture out. It says there are 250,000 components in the microchip, including a tiny lithium battery. I fought them over using lithium as a battery source, but NASA was doing a lot with lithium at the time, and it was the going thing. I had talked to a doctor at Boston Medical Center about what that concentration of lithium in the body could do if the chip broke down. He said that you would get a boil or grievous sore. It's was that Revelation 16? No. Revelation 16:2. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them that worshipped the image. See, so you can't make this up, man. Noisome meaning troublesome, injurious, pernicious, destructive, baneful. Properly refers to effects. And we just read sore. So, you would get a boil or grievous sore. You can't make this up, man. All right. A wound, especially a wound producing a discharge pus. As the development moved along, I left the project and came back as a consultant several times. I was used in many meetings as an expert witness in regards to the uses of the microchip. I was in one meeting where it was discussed how can you control a people if you cannot identify them. People like Henry Kissinger and CIA folk attended these meetings. As we developed this microchip, as the identification chip became the focal point, there were several things which, you know what? I want to do a quick search. So Henry Kissinger, which it says is an American politician, diplomat, and geopolitical consultant who served as United States Secretary of State and National Security Advisor under the presidential administrations of Richard Nixon and Gerald Ford. So, amongst those that uh pass laws and write laws into effect, this chip is talked about. Okay, so it's talked about amongst the president as well. Again, these things come down from the elites, these orders. So it says CIA folk attended these meetings as we developed this microchip, as the identification chip became the focal point. There were several things that were wanted. They wanted a name and an image, a picture of your face, social security number with the international digits on it, fingerprint identification, physical description, family history, address, occupation, income tax information, and criminal record. Now, this portion stuck out to me because you have something today, which is actually it was actually supposed to be implemented this year, October 1st, but it was pushed back to next year, October. It was supposed to be implemented this year, October 1st, 2020, but it was pushed back to October 1st, 2021. And it's called the Real ID. I just want to bring out a point with this Real ID. Um, Dang, I can't remember where it's at. Okay, yeah, it says right here, this Real ID, which is again right now, and they're basically saying that it's optional, and it's for, of course, they say it's for your benefit, you know, But one thing I noticed is that it says IDs and driver license as identification. No, which one was it? Well, I can't remember where it's at in the article. But what I noticed about the real ID is that it's supposed to encompass all your, when you look into it, it encompasses all your IDs. So like for example, when you go, like last week I went to go renew my license, and to renew your license you need 3 forms of ID. It could be your license, which is one form, your credit card, which is the second form, and your third form can be something like a birth certificate or social security number. But with the real ID, that encompasses all of that. You don't need multiple forms of ID now. That real ID is is the is the I don't know, I can't think of a word for it, but that real ID is the substitution for everything. you know and it's, again, we see that it's a segue to the RFID chip. So it says social security number with the international digits on it, fingerprint identification, physical description, family history, address, occupation, income tax information, and criminal record. And on top of that, when you go into the scriptures, one of the origins for the word charagma was the word mark goes into charagma. We always go into it. All right. The word mark goes into charagma, a physical insertion. Charagma goes into the word charax. Charax means what? A policy, how it's going to be inserted. Charax goes into the word grapho. Grapho meaning the writings. All right, so all your information is going to be encompassed in this one little tiny chip. I've been in 17 One World meetings where this has been discussed. Okay, he calls it all, both small and great. Meetings in Brussels, Luxembourg, tying together the finances of the world. There are bills before Congress right now that will allow them to inject a microchip in your child at the time of birth for identification purposes. The President of the United States of America, under the Immigration Control Act of 1986, Section 100, has the authority to deem whatever type of identification is necessary, whether it be an invisible tattoo or electronic media under the skin. So I think you have to look at the facts, folks. This is not coming as some big shock. The paving has been done ahead of time. Okay? The paving has been done ahead of time. So Esau is showing you, okay, this article is a clear, concise, it's clear and concise that the RFID chip is the mark of the beast. There's no way around that. Now I found this site here. It says human microchipping, the benefits and downsides. Now we understanding that this chip is going to cause you to eat a missile, we want to look at the downsides. Okay? So it says disadvantages. Of course, there are various disadvantages to implanting RFID chips as well. There are health concerns as well as privacy concerns. Will we still have control over our bodily privacy? Will we be able to remove the implants ourselves? How will we know if our chips are being hacked? RFID chips may pose a threat to our health. There are many different digital identification systems, and we use many different cards. We have a credit card, an ID card, a medical aid membership card, a public transport card, and so on. We will probably also need to implant more than just one RFID chip. A potential problem with these chips is that they don't always stay in their place, and this and somewhat is similar to the vaccines, because here it is, you know, just like particular shots that they give you when you're a kid. You need a shot for this, to rid your body from this disease, and a shot from that disease, and a shot from this disease. Then you gotta get a shot to update the other shots that you took 3 years ago or 8 years ago. So that's just gonna be how this chip is, man. And then the chip, we was, brothers was having spiritual talk, going into talking about how the chip, you know, how Esau is. You need a particular just like today, you might need a particular card to go there, or particular access card to you go here. That's just gonna how that chip is gonna be, you know. So it says we have a credit card, an ID card, a medical aid membership card, and a public transport card, and so on. We would probably also need to implant more than just one RFID chip. A potential problem with these chips is that they don't always stay in their place. They sometimes migrate to a different location, making it hard to find them, which will be particularly problematic in medical emergencies. Okay? So you don't take the chip, okay? Point blank period. Don't take the chip. Some other risks include electrical hazards, adverse tissue reaction, which we just read in Dr. Carl Sanders. Okay? You get grievous sore, infections, and incompatibility with medical equipment such as MRI machines. During an MRI scan, patients cannot take anything metal, including microchips. Then there's potential risk associated with certain pharmaceuticals and the issue of electrosurgical and electromagnetic interference with devices and defibrillators. Research studies from 2007 have indicated that microchips cause cancer in between 1 and 10% of lab animals implanted with the chips. Even though these cases are too rare to be distinguished from the cancer risk associated with any other implanted medical device, the fact remains that there are various potential RFID related health issues that are currently not adequately studied. Microchips may take away our freedom of choice. With RFID chips, we will always have to be on our very best behavior. And that's already hard for Jake. Jake is already hard. They already got the rock head. They want to do what they want to do. So that's why it's important to weigh the pros and the cons. The scriptures say in Proverbs 2:11, discretion shall preserve thee, to keep thee from the evil man, from the way of the evil man, roughly paraphrasing. So it says, no more riding the bus for free, driving a little faster than we should, making up an excuse for why we got to work late. In order to serve the public better, the service providers need to have more access to more information, which can also severely limit our freedom. For instance, we will be able to choose For instance, will we be able to choose to pay with cash money or our credit card? Or will we be forced to pay with our RFID implant? We already know the answer to that. What if receiving microchips becomes mandatory for, say, being able to apply for a job, get insurance, being admitted to school, how will we be able to remove the implant? And the scriptures say he causeth. Okay, that word cause goes into the Greek, meaning he makes, he forms this. So Esau is going to form this world to where you have to take the chip. If you want to still survive, you want to still eat. This is pretty obvious. Chips may make us prime targets for people with bad intentions. Okay? As in the case with most new technological developments, RFID chips are also sensitive to exploitation because they contain so much important information they can become a prime target for people with bad intentions, such as hackers. Imagine the information on your chip not only being readable but also writable. That would mean your data could be corrupted, wiped, or copied. Which makes me think of the scripture where it says, that's why we got to store up our treasures in heaven. Because anything in this place is temporal. Your money's in the bank, somebody hacks the bank, now your money's gone. All right? Like the brother Kalab said, people, they rave over how much money they got in the bank, but really those are just numbers on the screen. Those numbers can change at any moment. You get that chip, your life is in doubt now. So how much more when you get that chip? Okay? Then it says we need to think about who really benefits from human microchipping. Yes, RFID chips could make our lives more efficient, but we should actually ask ourselves who really benefits from human microchipping. It will make it very easy for Big Brother to continuously track where we are and what we do, how we do it, and whom we're doing it with. This could be very valuable information for large corporations and governments. RFIDs could enable government, security companies, or the police to electronically frisk citizens via chip readers placed in public places or along roadsides and pedestrian areas, etc. RFIDs can basically be scanned from a few feet away by anyone who has a reader. This is a legitimate concern that requires stringent privacy controls and security measures. So the point was made, the RFID chip is the mark of the beast in which you should not take. So with that, shalom to the elect.